achieved.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Studio Day Quarantine Day Heffrey. Today we're grading the Cowboys Draft, which, yes, if you say you can't grade a draft until you get 3 years away and see if these guys are any good. I do believe that, one, that's true, but also, two, I spend a lot of time studying them. I get to grade whatever I want, okay? Camera might be a little high there. Let me get a little down there. Let me get a little. Oh, look at that. Make sure you're doing that, okay? Make sure you're paying it forward out there. All right, so anyway, grading the Cowboys Draft. What I've done is, instead of an overall grade, we'll go pick by pick and what they did and what I wish that they did. I get to do this. If you put in the work, you get to grade people. That's the rules. I put in the work. I'm familiar with these players. So let's go step by step. First round, at number 17 overall, the Dallas Cowboys draft CeeDee Lamb. Wide receiver, Oklahoma. Brief scouting report. He's a monster. He was my best receiver in this class. Him and Jerry Jeudy were 1-2 and were neck and neck for best receiver in this class. I would have loved either one. Now, Jeudy obviously was already gone. And shout out to the teams that took Henry Ruggs, that was Gruden, that took Javon Kinlaw. Thank you, 49ers. And thank you, Falcons, for taking A.J. Terrell to let CeeDee Lamb fall in your lap. Very brief scouting report. Incredible ball skills. Can go snatch it from people. Really good after the catch, between the balance, the smooth change of direction, the lower body power. He can run through tacklers. Solid route runner. Oklahoma's kind of weird. They did a lot to give him a lot of open opportunities, but what he did after the catch was great. He'll be a good after-catch guy in the league. He'll be a good contested ball catcher. He'll be good at everything. And, boy, if he's going to be lining up in the slot, I think Amari will get some slot duty, but if he's going to be lining up in the slot, he's about to murder it. I do believe CeeDee Lamb is going to be the best receiver on the Cowboys in 12 months. A year from now, I believe he will be the best Cowboys receiver. Hands? Oh, yes. Yes. Good hands. Oh, yes. He's got everything. So A++, triple plus. Because Kayvon Chason was on the board, and I think it would have been easy for the Cowboys to just say, you know, we were hoping that Chason was on the board. He's on the board. We feel like we have a need at pass rusher, so we're going to take him. It would have been easy to do that, and I could see the Cowboys doing that in past years. I think the biggest benefit this year was because they weren't able to have their pre-draft visits, because they weren't able to have everybody in and get to know all these different guys, and because they have a brand new coaching staff, you didn't have a bunch of dudes in the organization who had built up credibility with the Joneses and with the head coach. Basically, I'm talking about Rod Marinelli mostly, and I love Rod. I think he's a great position coach. I think he's an incredible dude. But I think he was very influential in the Taco pick and the Tristan Hill pick. And so now you don't have guys campaigning for guys. You're trusting the work of the scouts. You're trusting the work of Will McClay, who's going to join us on 105.3 The Fan, by the way, at 2 o'clock today. Will McClay, 2 o'clock at G-Bag Nation on The Fan. They trusted their work. Your 6th overall player fell to you. You take him. Second round pick for the Cowboys, number 51 overall, was Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama. Brief scouting report. He's got the size you want. He's a big dude. He's a former wide receiver. He's only played corner for 3 years of his life, and you can see it. When the ball goes down the field and he does locate it, he tracks the ball like a wide receiver. I know people have probably seen Jamar Chase out-track him. He does, it's corner's still fairly new to him, so if he comes and takes somebody's job in training camp, that's awesome. I don't need him to, though. This is more about his year 2, 3, and 4, I think. But if he forces Anthony Brown or Cheeto or Jordan Lewis onto the sideline, that's great. That's a bonus. But I like the pick for what his future looks like. So Trayvon Diggs, I gave that pick an A- because I actually had one corner left on the board that I liked better than Trayvon Diggs, and that was Christian Fulton at LSU. Trayvon's got the higher ceiling because of that size, that frame, the former wide receiver habits. But Christian Fulton, to me, was one of the hardest guys in college football to separate on. So I think he's more ready. He would come snatch somebody's job. So I give him an A-. I really like the Diggs pick. I didn't expect him to be available. Didn't expect Christian Fulton to be available either. But he was. Let me make sure I'm not mistaken on that. I hate to make a mistake on a video, you know. Not that I would change the video, but just double check here. But I'm pretty sure Fulton was available, and I wanted Fulton. Fulton went to the Titans. He was picked at, number 61. Okay. So, I have that right. So, A-. I can give him, you know what? Let me give him an A. Because I think Fulton was my only guy on the board that I had higher than Diggs at that moment. So, if they picked the second best player on my board, good pick. Third round, Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma. Brief scouting report. He ran a sub 4.8 at the combine, and he's a 300-pound dude. So, obviously, in a straight line, dude can go. Motor never stops. He's a big-time effort dude. He'll make plays 20 yards downfield. He'll chase the ball. He's not going to quit. But I do think he gets pushed around in the run game some, and the production doesn't match the traits. And I think that's probably, you can check his combine stuff, like the shuttles and the 3-cone. So he's not a good turner. There's not bend there. Now he's playing on the interior, so it may not be that big of a deal, but I think that's part of why he wasn't able to finish some plays where you'd like to see him finish. He's a penetrator. He's good off the snap. He can get into the backfield and make some plays. He just didn't make enough plays for what his athletic traits say that he should have. And he's an older prospect. He was a redshirt senior, so he's a year older than Tristan Hill, who's already on your roster. I gave this pick a B. Now, if you want to know what the Cowboys thought of him, their grading scale is like, so if your grade was a 1.18, that's towards the end of the first round. A 1.20 is the very beginning of the second round. A 1.21 is behind a 1.20, so the number's going up. So they had Neville Gallimore actually graded above Trayvon Diggs at 1.20. Trayvon Diggs 1.21, according to the great Brian Biadasz. So they really like him. So to them, it's an A+. I had a couple of players on the board I liked better. Jordan Elliott out of Missouri, the defensive tackle, and Terrell Burgess, the safety out of Utah. So because, to me, there were a couple of better players on the board, I'll give them a B. But they should give themselves an A+, because they stuck to their board. They took the very top guy on their board. With Trayvon Diggs, they took a guy that was towards the very top of their board. So those are good. Fourth round. At number 123 overall, they take Reggie Robinson II out of Tulsa. So Reggie Robinson, I think I have the numbers right off the top of my head. 4 picks last year, 13 passes defended. He's 6'1". He's over 200 pounds. I think Jerry might have mentioned that he has some position versatility, and they think maybe he could play safety, but tested in the 92nd or 93rd percentile of athletes amongst corners at the combine. So he tested super well. I don't think his tape shows that sort of athlete, but that's somewhere between a help me now pick and a developmental pick. But I had him graded at the end of the third. They got him in the middle of the fourth. Reggie Robinson was, if he wasn't my very top player available, he was close. I guess Akeem Davis-Gaither was available. Burgess might have still been available. No, I think he went a little bit earlier. But Akeem Davis-Gaither has some medical stuff. So Reggie Robinson, I give that pick an A. Tyler Biadasz, Wisconsin, the center. Once again, this is a guy they really, really liked. They should give themselves an A+ for moving up and picking a guy at the top of their board. I'll give this pick a B because it's the fourth round, and I think he has the potential to be a starter. So that's a solid pick. In 2019, I think he was a better run blocker than he was a pass protector. I think he has some struggles with power. And when you get into third and longs and they start reducing their really good pass rushers down to the inside, I think he might struggle with that athleticism too. You see him in the Ohio State game getting caught, getting his head down, trying to make a block too quickly, and ended up missing. So Biadasz, I had graded as a top of the fourth round guy. They got him in the fourth round. So it's a solid pick. I liked McGovern's tape a year ago better than Biadasz. So we'll see what happens with him. If he turns into a starter, it's an A+. And I would imagine, based on how they have him graded, they might think that that's going to happen, that maybe Connor McGovern ends up at left guard and Biadasz ends up at your center. If that happens, A+. Fifth round, number 179, Bradlee Anae, Utah defensive end. I gave this one an A+. This and CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb at 17. That's dumb. Bradlee Anae, Utah, he had 13 sacks last year, 30 career sacks. Problem is, at the combine, he tested as a really bad athlete for an edge, a guy that's 6'3", in the 250s, doesn't have long arms. So what he's missing is the measurables. What he has is the tape. He's a dude that has a pass rush plan. He wins with his hands off, and even though he doesn't have long arms, he'll generally win with his punch. He'll be the first one to punch the tackle. He won't get punched. Holding the edge will be inconsistent in terms of being a power player, and he's not a great athlete. So that's how a guy tumbles to the 5th round. But his production as a pass rusher looked like a guy that had a plan, that's good with his hands, finds a way to win inside and outside. I had him at the end of the 3rd round. They picked him in the 5th round. So Bradlee and I have to grade that as an A+ just because of where they got him and where I had him. It's great value. And then Ben Dinucci, I saw our buddy Dalton Miller, check him out on Twitter, did a full breakdown. I went and watched a little bit of him. This is the quarterback from James Madison. I'd never heard of him. But from what I've seen, I like him. Like, he's a good athlete. He's tough. Completed over 70% of his passes. And James Madison's one of the really good schools at the Division II level. They were in the playoff this year. I don't remember if they lost in the championship or the semifinal, but Dinucci's got ties to McCarthy. And in the 7th round, if your head coach who has a good history with quarterbacks wants to pick a quarterback and he says, this is the guy I want, I'm cool with that. So I give that pick a we'll see. So grades for individual picks. Lamb, A+, Diggs, A, Gallimore, B, Robinson, A, Biadasz, B, Anae, A+. So I think that works out to like an A- draft. I think they had a top 5 draft class, no doubt. I think my buddy Thor Nystrom at Roto World gave them the number 1 class in the draft, and Pro Football Focus, if they didn't give them number 1, had them right towards the top. So they did a great job. It was a great draft by the Cowboys. Trading a future 5 to go trade up for Tyler Biadasz is also not a big deal, and I think the reason they did it, and I'll ask Will McClay about this, I think the reason they felt comfortable doing that is because they're still going to have a pick in the 5th round next year. So right now, they'll probably get a 3rd-round comp pick for Byron, a 4th-round comp pick for Robert Quinn, a 5th-round comp pick for Randall Cobb, and a 6th-round comp pick for Jeff Heath. So they got 4 extra picks next year. So if they hadn't traded any away, that's 7 plus 4 is 11. Minus the 5th they traded to Philly, you'll have 10 picks next year, including an extra 3, an extra 4, and you just replaced your 5. It'll be a little bit later, but since the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl and have the 32nd pick in the round, it's really just a few picks behind. So Cowboys draft, they give it an A-. That's what I give it. Leave in the comments what you want to talk about tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you. It means a lot to have you guys watching, listening, all those things. So in the comments, whatever you want to talk about tomorrow, maybe we'll do the NFC East draft class. Maybe we'll, whatever you want to talk about, just leave it in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube page at youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Hit the little bell thing to make sure you have the notifications so you don't miss a video. And of course, check 1053thefan.com every day. I love you guys. And from Studio Day Heavy, I'm out.